Alright guys, my name is Dave. I'm here to show you how to use clipping masks in Procreate. Okay, what they are, how to use them, and how to use them for your drawings. So sit back and buckle up, get right to the point here. So I've got Procreate opened on my iPad, and I can see I've got some layers here. So first of all, what is a clipping mask? Okay, well, let's kind of handle that first. So I'm just going to create a new layer. You can see I've got other layers in there, and I'll get to that in a second. I'll just put this on top. So I'm just going to click on it and move it to the top there. There we go. And let's say if I drew something on here. So I'm just going to kind of draw, let's see, I'll make my brush size bigger. I'll just change the color. There we go. And I'll draw a star. Okay, it doesn't matter what I draw. Okay. There we go. And excellent. Okay, now if I do a new layer, and I'm going to clip this layer to that star. So if I click on the icon of layer 7 or the thumbnail image, and then go to clipping mask, it's going to be clipped to what's below it. Okay, so in other words, you can see that star is there. And if I wanted to not make it a clipping mask, I click on it and I can uncheck clipping mask. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to leave it without a clipping mask first, and I'm going to just kind of draw some blue stripes through this. Notice it's on the layer on top, and if I draw some stripes, I can see that it's like, yeah, it's on that layer. But if I do this, if I click on that and I tell it to be a clipping mask, you can see it's clipped to what's below it. In other words, it's not going to be allowed to go outside the region of the star, even though I'm drawing it on a separate layer. And you can see that I'm doing it like that. And if I unclipped it, that's what it looks like. But because it's clipped, that's what it looks like. And if I erased on this, you can see that I can erase. Okay, or I could do whatever I want. I'm drawing, but you can see that it stays to the star. Okay, so it's clipped to the star. So how does that relate to anything? So we may have heard this term clipping mask, and you can see technically how it's done, but let's kind of use that in a drawing scenario. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of that. I'm going to swipe to the right, hit delete, swipe to the right, hit delete, and I'm going to bring up another program here called VizRef. Okay, now I have a video here that I'll link to. I like to have VizRef for all of my reference stuff, and these are not my drawings. Okay, if I zoom up, Dave Raposo, you can see .com, and I'll leave a link to his website in the description. But I feel like I just love his work. I feel like this is really cool, and I'm just using this as an example for this drawing tutorial here. It's not really a drawing tutorial, just a clipping mask tutorial. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the three dots at the top. Okay, these three buttons up here. So if I click on that, now it's going to say, hey, where do you want this to go? I'm going to say to the side. So I'm going to click on the middle one. And then it's going to say, hey, what other program do you want open? I'm going to click on Procreate. And now you can see I've got them side by side. And I'm just going to grab this middle bar, and drag it to the left a little bit. And there we go. Once again, I have all of that set up on a different video that'll show you how to use VizRef. I love VizRef in conjunction with Procreate. So anyway, now let's say that I drew what I'm seeing here. Okay, so I've got some line art already established here. And once again, not really a drawing tutorial, more of a shading tutorial using clipping masks. So once I've got kind of my line art established, here's kind of a cool trick too. Sometimes what I like to do is duplicate this. So I swipe to the left, hit duplicate. Then on layer 2, which is the duplicated lines, I like to click on my magic wand button up here and then do a hue, saturation, and brightness. And then I'll put the brightness all the way to 1. Okay, so now I have both white lines and black lines. Okay, that way if I'm trying to see it over some dark things, the white lines will be easier to see, or black lines is probably what I mostly want. But now, how would I use a clipping mask in this case? Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go below layer 2, which is my outline here. I'm going to hit a plus sign, And there it is, layer 7. Now I'm just going to grab a shade of gray. Any shade of gray. In fact, it technically would be any color. And now what I do is this. I'm going to paint kind of like a coloring book. I'm just going to kind of fill this guy all the way in. And so I like to be careful around the edges. And then in the middle, just kind of be a lot faster. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful around the edges. You can see here, I'm just kind of painting in. Underneath, it's not on the same layer as my lines, obviously. And if I go outside the lines, that's okay. I can always erase. Let's not forget that. And here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip to this silhouette. Okay, so maybe it's faster if I kind of just go like that and then use my eraser tool and kind of come in with a little bit more precision. Whoop. Maybe with a smaller brush and say, okay, I don't want that. And the nice part is that if we need to adjust this later, we can. But I feel like it does kind of pay to get this nice in the beginning if you can. So once again, kind of going close to those outlines carefully and then kind of speeding up as I get to the edges here. There we go. Nice. Okay. There we go. And it looks like I got a little carried away down here somehow. Excellent. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, now if I take off the line work, I can kind of see what I have here. And let's say if I switch colors later on, and I want to get back to that exact gray, what I could do is I could just hold down and then let up, and I'm going to have the exact gray. Okay? And, all right, excellent. Now, you can see I can put the line work on as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on layer 7. I'm going to hit the plus sign to create a layer above layer 7. In fact, actually, skip that. I'm going to delete that. Swipe to the left, hit delete. I'm going to duplicate layer 7. So I'm going to swipe to the left. I'm going to hit duplicate. Now I'm going to click on the icon of the top layer 7, and I'm going to say clipping mask. And now what it's doing is it's clipped the layer beneath it. Okay. Now if I go to my white, and if I paint, you can see that it's going to only be relevant to the clipping mask there. Or if I paint with darks, it doesn't matter, right? It's only going to be on the clipping mask. So that's kind of cool. And the neat thing is that I started with a gray. So that's kind of my medium values. So now what I could come in here is I could go in with white, and now I could kind of come in here and look at where my whites are. And what's cool with VizRef is I could click on that, and one click I can make it black and white. I feel like any color image that you have can simply be really quickly made black and white. So I'm getting kind of a better read, just kind of a better read lighting wise. Okay, excellent. Now, and you can see that I'm kind of laying in the whites a little sloppy here, but I feel like the magic is done in the shading. Okay, so you can come here, and I'm going to kind of shade this out. And I might work this, several times, but what's nice is I don't have to worry about kind of like going outside the lines, okay? Because my my clipping mask is basically kind of protecting me from not going outside the lines. And then I can also go in with darks, and I can come in here with blacks, and now I can go in more like this. Okay, and paint on here, once again, kind of go in with my shading. And I'll do, at some point, I'll do a much more kind of in-depth tutorial with this, but I feel like you can see how that's, once again, that's clipped to the, clipped to that layer beneath it, and then I can just kind of have fun all day, kind of shading back and forth on this. Now, just kind of like one of those cooking shows, I kind of sped up the process. And if we look here, if I open up, I'm just going to hide this and this. And if I open up this one, I can see here's that, here's what it looks like. There's my clipping mask that I painted. And then here's some shading that I spent time doing, and then I'm going to turn off the line work. And you can see that, you know, give it some time, it's going to start coming through. And I feel like, once again, several hours just kind of put into this. But this idea of the clipping mask, you'll see that if I turn off the clipping mask, I'm not even going to see the result of anything. So then if I needed to adjust something, I can still come in here. And if I go to the clipping mask, now let's say if I need to correct an edge or something, I can come in maybe with my eraser and I could kind of correct that edge line. Or if I need to have more come out, I can actually hold down on the checkbox next to layer 4. If I hold down, it'll just isolate that layer. I can grab on that layer, holding down. It'll grab the exact color. Now if I come back, I can unisolate by clicking on the check next to layer 4. And now if I needed to add some more or kind of smooth some stuff out, I can come in here, whoa, and I can paint to get kind of a, you know, kind of a smoother edge. And this is once again independent of my shading, you know, of my shading layer. So really cool, this idea of using a clipping mask in conjunction with, you know, Procreate for creating, you know, kind of a black and white example here. Now, the other thing too that I like to do is if I were going to make this in color, I still actually like doing the black and white values first. And that's why I like on VizRef that just with one click you can do black and white. And then what I would do is I would go here and I would add another level, a layer, kind of play with its blending modes to do the color. But once again, I feel like that's getting a little ahead of ourselves. I just wanted to show clipping masks. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Hopefully this was helpful. Please like and subscribe, and happy drawing. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.